He's got it again. Got him that time. Oh, we got a real one. Well, hello and welcome to the channel. It's been a while since we did an actual fishing video, and I apologize for that. Today we're targeting the Gulf strain striped bass. At the moment, I am not targeting Gulf strain striped bass. I saw this little pocket here and I thought it looked like a good place for a bass, a black bass. And I got bit in there already and I missed him. Or missed it, I should say. There's all kind of briars and stuff in there. You can kind of see where that foam is. The water, there's a side channel here. We've got a riffle and it cuts against this bank and it's deep right there, or deep is relative here. It's 2 or 3 feet under those bushes. And you've got a pocket there where the current kicks out around the bank there. You can see the foam where there's kind of a current break there. I already set the hook and missed the fish one time, so it's probably not going to come back. The Gulf strain striped bass, for those of you that don't know, is there's 2 strains. You've got the Atlantic population, and then there's a population in the Gulf of Mexico. And the Gulf strain fish, they are river fish, basically. If you know anything about striped bass, you know they don't like warm water. And if you know anything about the Gulf of Mexico, it gets very hot in the summertime. It's not like the Atlantic Ocean or the mid-Atlantic coast where you have cool, relatively cool water temperatures just offshore, just off the beach there. In the Gulf of Mexico, it just gets too warm. So the Gulf strain striped bass are river fish, just because the Gulf of Mexico, it gets too warm in the summer. Check our knot one last time. See before we see if anybody's home. That was probably a black bass there. I can hear the Jaws music. Well, that was a major disappointment there. I may have waited too long to do this. Normally these Gulf strain striped bass they come up in these streams in the spring to spawn, and a lot of people think they leave after that, and some do. They go back to the man-made impoundment downstream. But these Gulf strain striped bass, they are a river fish. They can't the Gulf of Mexico just gets too warm, so historically these were river fish. They spend most of the year in the larger river systems from Florida to Texas. Before, and really that was before all these man-made impoundments were built and blocked access to the cooler sections of the river. Anyway, they now stock Gulf strain striped bass and on quite a few man-made impoundments all over the South. And in the spring, a lot of these fish, they run up into these streams to spawn, and a lot of them do go back to the lake, but a lot of them stay in these rivers all through the summer. They're real hard to catch once the water warms up. In May, after the spawn, they will often hit an artificial lure if you can find where the fish are holding. And then after May, the water usually gets too hot. You've got a lot of people use the stream then through the summer. You got people that swim, you got people that just paddle for recreation. They're not even fishing, but it just adds stresses the fish out, and they get real hard to catch on artificial lures. And I think a lot of them are probably nocturnal, feed at night, and you just can't really catch them on an artificial then. About the only way you can catch them is with a big gizzard shad, a live gizzard shad. But again, the fish are under a lot of stress because of the water temps in the summer are so high that any added stress from handling the fish, fighting the fish and handling it. Then if you take it out of the water, a lot of them don't make it. But if we catch one today, I'm not going to take him out of the water, even though it's May and we could probably do it, but I don't really need to take one out of the water. So if I haven't fished here in about 8 years, but the last time I was here, I did really well under similar conditions. It was about the second week of May then. And it's coming up on the end of May now, so I may have waited too long to do this. And if you knew how big some of the fish were in here, it would literally scare you. I know on a similar stream that's approximately the same size, not this stream, but some biologists shocked up a 55-pounder. So don't let the size of the stream fool you. There can be some really big fish. In a small stream like this. Now they're probably not going to hit an artificial lure like this. Typically the fish I catch are in the 5 to 15 pound range. Every now and then you will catch some between 20 and 30 pounds when the conditions are right. But if I was really after a big one, I would go net some gizzard shad somewhere and chunk a live gizzard shad in some of these holes. There's a fish. That's not a striped bass. It might be a red eye. Something is not. This braided line makes me so nervous, man. Even with these little fish, it just feels like they're about to come off any second. It's a red eye. And he hit that super spook with a 50-pound braided line. I'm sure some of the fly anglers are aghast at that. My 50-pound braid and my giant Super Spook. This lure though, it's not, a lot of people think it's a big lure. It's not. I mean, as you can see, this guy, this red-eye bass had no trouble at all with that Super Spook. So, actually, I haven't done this in a while. I've got to tilt my camera or you can't see it. It's like I'm starting all over again. There we go. There we go. Really nice red-eye bass. That's the true red-eye bass right there. You can see that turquoise coloration. You see that a lot around the spawn. It's not only on the gill cover and around the eye. He's got it also down here around the anal fin. You've got some turquoise coloration. It's got that white on the leading edge of the soft dorsal fin here. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up. And he's got the white caudal fin margins there. They've also got a more rounded, the lobes of the caudal fin are more rounded. I don't know if you can see that, but need to get this guy back in the water. Try to get a release shot here. There it goes. Okay, we're back. I took that braided line off. I think it might have even been, it could have been 65-pound braid. And that got me, I put on some more sporting 17-pound mono. I know some people are probably, the fly anglers are probably laughing or unsubscribing. But I was wondering, if you're an angler and you get an idea in your head that something's not going to work or there's a problem with your tackle, I had that braid on there and it just got in my head. I was like, you know, I didn't really want to take it off there because braided line, it lasts forever. And I could have used it somewhere else. But I had to take it off there. And I just got it in my head that that was going to potentially be a problem or a reason that I didn't catch these fish. So I took it off. I've caught them here in the past on mono, but never on braid. I've never tried the braid, but I'm curious if anyone else, well, anyway, the moral of that story is if you have a confidence issue with your tackle or there's a problem with something, you just go, you're better off just to go ahead and deal with it instead of just, if you can. Anyway, I caught that red-eye bass on what was probably 65-pound braid, and I got to wondering if anyone has ever caught a red-eye bass on 65-pound braid, if that might be some kind of, you know, crazy record. I'm sure somebody has. Like a couple more and we'll launch the worm in there. This might, I may have just waited too long to try this here. If this turns into a striped bass fail mission, I'll just, what we'll do is we'll move to a larger stream where the water is still cooler and the fish are more active, where they will hit an artificial lure. I'm pretty sure there's a fish or two here, a striped bass, I mean. I don't know if the water's too warm or if too many people have been messing with them here, and they've got to a point where they're not going to hit an artificial lure. If you fish these rivers, you know what I'm talking about. There's times where you'll paddle right over these big stripers, and even if you know where they are and you cast to those areas before you float over them, they won't hit an artificial lure. They get to a point in the summer where they're just in more of a survival mode, and any additional stress is just, you know, can be fatal. So they just kind of sit there, and they're really not going to hit anything, and they might not even hit a live bait. That one ate it practically as soon as it hit the water. I want to check out this guy. It's another red-eye bass, but I'm not going to complain. Look at the color on that guy. Amazing. Now, I caught this one on 8-pound test, so a little more sporting than the 65-pound braid. See ya. Even though we're targeting the Gulf strain striped bass, I wasn't going to pass this up without throwing a worm in there. There's a big back eddy over there moving against the far bank, and that's just about always going to hold a fish. What'll sometimes happen on these smaller streams like this is if you get a lot of traffic, especially, that happens, that a lot of people fish these streams in the summer and when the weather's nice. So when you have a real obvious hole like this, it can get fished several times a day. And it's possible this place is so obvious that it's just been kind of beat to death. It's possible that this place has just been fished out or beat on to the point that the fish are just really hard to catch. That looked like a bass right there. A black bass, not a striped bass. He ate it too. As soon as it hit the water, he was on it. He's got it again. My worm's kind of messed up, but that fish is so ready to eat, I'm not even going to fool with straightening the bait. He's got it again. Got him that time. It's a pretty good Alabama bass. Ooh, he just figured out he was hooked. Made a nice jump there. I hope I got that on the camera. He's trying to get me in that water willow. Get over here where you can see this fish. It's probably about a 17, 18 inch fish. It's a really decent one. Not a giant. People that fish the big impoundments are like probably not gonna realize or think this fish is all that great, but for a small stream, this is really a good one. Oh, and this one, you can see the tail there. That fish was on a bed. I can almost guarantee you this fish is spawning. You can see the caudal fin there, the lower lobe of the caudal fin is red there. Let me make sure my camera lens is clean here. Right there, you can see the lower lobe of the caudal fin is red, and really the edge of that anal fin is kind of torn up too. That'll heal after the spawn, but you can always tell. That's something you see a lot when fish are spawning. You know, their fins get tore up because they're so close to the bottom for, you know, rooting around and fanning, and they're so close to the substrate that their fins get all tore up. Let's see, where's the best place to... Okay. It's probably a 16 or 17 inch fish. It wasn't as big as I thought it was. Still a pretty nice native Alabama bass there. See ya. And that's pretty common when the fish are spawning. They'll miss a topwater like that, and really they're not even trying to eat it. They're just trying to you know, get whatever it is away from the nest. So that's one reason I knew from experience that if I threw back in there, yeah, it might have rolled on the bait again, but my chances of catching that fish were much better on a bottom bait, like you know, and I had this shaky head ready to go. So, you know, a Texas rig or you know, I know a lot of the younger guys, they like the Ned rig, but a Ned rig would have caught that fish. A Texas rig, maybe even a wacky rig. There's a fair amount of current there, so a wacky rig would have gotten swept out of the vicinity of the nest there kind of faster than I would have liked. But this is really the bottom here is just great. You can see all we have is this clean, coarse substrate. There's no fine silt or sand. The sand that there is, it's really a coarse type of sand and gravel. You know, it's really large grains of sediment there, but that's really what you want to be around. For some reason my camera keeps shutting off. I guess I got a low battery, but I just caught this nice red-eye bass out of that shoal. Really beautiful. They're all beautiful, but this one is amazing. I hope this camera's recording. That's the largest one I've caught today. See ya. Uh-oh. Wow. Is that a red eye? Are you kidding me? No, that's definitely not a red eye. Oh, that's a male Alabama bass there, and he was spraying milt. I don't know if I got that. I don't know if you can see it here, but there's a massive tree right here. It's just a giant log, and it starts right there. Starts right there, and there's the end of it right there. And I just missed a fish on the other side of it, on the other side of the log right here. Felt like a shadow bass or a red eye bass. I don't think it was a really big fish, but that's a prime spot. I just missed one. Well, that one stole my worm. I'm using a green pumpkin Zoom finesse worm, by the way. Well, there was a red eye there, but not the one I was looking for. He's a fat little sucker. He's really healthy. See ya.